Onto your markets now. Asian stocks ended the session higher today, although Japan was out on holiday. The good performance came as market players took their cues from Wall Street from Friday, but players remain cautious ahead of the US elections tomorrow, as well as the lingering geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. The Hang Seng Index rose by 0.33%, while the Shanghai Composite Index closed the session up 1.2%. US markets ended on a high note on Friday, driven in part by stronger sentiment in the tech sector following robust earnings results from Amazon and Intel. That was despite a poor jobs report than anticipated, with only an additional 12,000 jobs created in October. As players look forward, there are many factors that will keep them speculating: the US Fed's rate decision this month and the pending US elections. The Dow Jones Industrial Average ended the session up 0.7%. The S&P 500 rose by 0.4%, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq closed up 0.8%. The JSE is trading slightly higher today, with the all-share index up 0.1%. The rand is at 17.54 against the US dollar, 22.74 vis-a-vis the British pound, and 19.11 against the euro. Gold is trading at $2,742 an ounce. Platinum is trading at $1,007 an ounce, while Brent crude oil is trading at around $75 a barrel. Well, to unpack the markets for us, I'm joined by Zwelakhe Mnguni. He's the CIO, the Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers. Thank you very much, Zwelakhe, for joining us. So what was your reading of the US jobs data and other data like their PMI that came out of the market last week, Friday? How do you see the US economy faring?
Yeah, thank you, Nopu. I do think that there is a mixed bag. We're starting to get a mixed data coming through on the PMI, stronger, a little weaker on the job side. But I do think that the US economy is still strong, still potentially can continue for a little while with the current momentum. It might not be the high growth that we saw 2 years ago, but it'll probably continue. So I'm still optimistic about the growth in the US. Of course, there are other things that are on the cards that could affect the elections.
Yeah. Now, given the uncertainty over the outcome of the US elections, are you anticipating some volatility this week, especially if the election result is not called right away?
Yeah, I do expect it. I do expect that there'll be a bit of sideways trading in the markets, but I think the big question is not so much about the policies at this stage. It is more about whether we're going to see a repeat of the other year when the elections were disputed and there was drama. So one hopes that doesn't happen, and then one can focus on the policies. And I think if I just look at Kamala Harris, it's probably going to be a continuation of the Biden administration policies, whereas Trump might take us back to the tariffs and America First kind of approach, which may be inflationary in the long run. So he'll basically tax other countries for supplying goods into America, and that would be inflationary.
Yeah. So following South Africa's midterm budget statement last week, we haven't yet really heard from the ratings agencies, but do you think that Enoch Godongwana made sufficiently sensible arguments that we're going to get decent ratings, whenever they do review us later this year?
I do think that we'll get a good rating. I think what his statement was, it highlighted discipline and continuation on the theme of being cautious about spending, managing the debt down. So I did think that it was positive in that regard. So I would expect at least the rating agencies to keep us stable.
Right. And then one last thing, I see that Redefine, the property group, the real estate investment trust, it came out with their half-year results, reporting that revenue was up 7.5%, while distributable income per share was down 2.9% at 50 cents. But they are paying out an interim dividend of 45.52 cents. What is your assessment of how Redefine is doing?
I think they continue to stick to their knitting now. I think years ago they had issues around disciplined capital allocation. They seem to be disciplined this time, and their portfolios, I think the retail portfolio seems to be doing very well. The industrial portfolio is struggling a little bit, but the office has got the biggest vacancies. I think it's about 11%. So I do think that there is an improvement, but the market seems to be quite skeptical about their net asset value. So it's trading at 5 rand probably, and the net asset value is around 788. So the market's a bit skeptical about that net asset value.
All right, Zwelakhe, thank you very much for your time and insights there. That was Zwelakhe Mnguni. He is the Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers.